8 times. And there were people who had to write more than 50 times because they had made 50 mistakes. So it was like we finished our 7 or 8 times that we had to write, then pitched in for them and wrote for them as well. So the entire next week was a chaos. Not that our classes stopped. Whenever we had time in between the classes, we were expected to write this and give the written notes back. That was how we learnt how to chant. Should I try anything like that brutal? One sitting, ekdam. I would love it. We have 8 sessions. Each session I'll have one Swami dedicated. It will be a good deal for me. When people join Chinmaya Mission in their initial, they have a lot of questions. They ask questions like, which God do you follow in Chinmaya Mission? Because there are institutions which are dedicated only to Bhagwan Krishna, only to a certain deity. So they come with that mindset and ask, which deity does Chinmaya Mission follow? My answer to them is, we don't believe in retail business. We believe in wholesale. Like here we have Ram Parivar. We say Ram Parivar, but there is Shiva, there is Ganesha. Then you go a little to Austin, then we have Lord Shiva. Houston has Lord Shiva. Beaumont has Lord Balaji. So each center has a different deity, and we don't mind worshipping any form because all these forms are expression of that one Paramatma alone. Then the next question that we get asked is Chinmaya Mission Bhakti Marg, or is it Seva Marg, or is it, what path? Again, the humorous answer is, we don't do retail business, we do wholesale. We have bhakti, we have jnana, we have karma as well, all integrated together. How many of you do exercise? How many of you go to gym? How many of you have gym membership? How many of you have those big instruments at home which are used for keeping yellow pages or cloth line kind of a thing? The not elevator, what is it called? Treadmill and no, elliptical. Elliptical. So when you go to this gym, you are advised to employ a trainer for first few days, because there are too many instruments and you don't know how to use them. So that you can maximize it for your benefit, you employ a trainer. And the trainer usually focuses on the upper body, then the arms and the mid torso, then the lower body, various exercises to different group of muscles, so that the entire body, over a period of a week's effort, entire body gets toned, and expects us to maintain that routine as we go week after week after week, right? What if you go to a gym and do not focus on any other muscle but only right biceps? The rest of the body is like a stickman, agarbatti, but the arm is like Schwarzenegger's biceps, thighs hanging on biceps. Wouldn't it look hilarious? Wouldn't it look funny? It will look like a cartoon, it will look like a caricature. When you go to a gym, you are expected to exercise in such a way that the entire body, all groups of muscles are exercised, and you get that burn in all groups of these muscles, and they're toned well, right? Doing just one portion or one part of the body is horrendous. It's not even worth putting the effort in that direction. Make sense? Similarly, when we talk about evolution of a personality in a comprehensive manner, our rishis said that it is not good enough to choose one path, but to understand the entire comprehensive application of the paths, and thereby suggested the path called yoga. What does the word yoga mean? To join, a union, to merge. That is what the word yoga means. The root word is yuja. Yuja, that which combines, that which joins, that which brings together, that which unifies this soul with that Paramatma. How many yoga are there? Our scriptures, when they prescribe, how many yogas are there? First of all, what does yoga mean? Other than union and joining, when somebody, a layman, uses the word yoga, what does it mean in the outside world? Yoga. It is usually interpreted as exercises, right? In our scriptures, there is no word called yoga for exercises. Did you know that? That which is called by the layman as exercises yoga, the actual word for it is called asana. But in this country, in the Western mindset, they love to cut everything short. Short and sweet, they say. So they cut short the entire word, Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga Asana. So they cut Patanjali, they cut yoga from asana, and now they only say it as yoga. And there are some who now claim that yoga has got nothing to do with Hinduism. The likes of Deepak Chopra and others who claim that the yoga word has got nothing to do with Hinduism. एक बार मिले तो ना पकड़ के पीट डालूंगा. It's a Sanskrit word indicating the union of the self with that supreme. It has got nothing to do with the asana. The mainstream yoga, do you know how many paths are referred to in that mainstream? Whenever this question is mentioned, the mainstream paths mentioned where? Mentioned in the scriptures or Vedas. There are 4 main paths. Patanjali's yoga path or yoga siddhanta came in later, which is not in the mainstream, which can be added as a 4th or 5th mainstream, but it is not the main one. It is mentioned later by Patanjali, but that which is mentioned in the scriptures are 4 paths. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga. Have you heard of these words? Okay, what is the third one? Jnana yoga, dhyana yoga. Oh, this yoga. Yes. In the mainstream, when they say yoga, they mean these 4 paths. What is popular today is not the part of the main 4 paths. It is the 3rd step of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which is called asana. In his path called the Hatha Yoga, it is called Hatha Yoga or Kriya Yoga. In that Kriya Yoga, there are 8 limbs. Therefore, it is called Ashtanga Yoga. Ashta means 8, Anga means limbs, Yoga, path to union. The first two are called Yama and Niyama, and the third one is called Asana. It is not called yoga, it is called asana. Sometimes I pull pranks on people, practical jokes on people. In somebody's house that I had gone for some puja, this person saw me in this colored clothes and said, Swamiji, do you teach yoga in your ashram? I said, huh? Can you tell me the time? So I told Sunday, Saturday, these timings. So when do you teach? Do you teach? I said, yes. This sessions I teach. So it was hilarious to see him that day. He came in with track suits and a yoga mat, and he came in, sat down in one corner, and he saw everybody else in Indian attire and the children. He was a little awkward, but he liked it because the children were doing the presentation. First half an hour thing, he liked it. The children left. So his awkwardness increased because he spread his yoga mat as soon as everybody left, and he settled, waiting eagerly for the yoga to start. And I went on my pravachan. Imagine I had to maintain a straight face, even looking at that person, not jump into laughter. I maintained a straight face, finished my lectures, got up, started walking, and this person was like, "Wait a second, you said there is yoga." I said, "Hey Swami, wait, where is the yoga class?" I said, "What did you? That was yoga." He said, "No, the other exercise." I said, "You didn't ask me that way." So yoga means exercise. Don't teach me what yoga is. You may have given a wrong interpreted meaning for yoga to be a asana. But the word yoga is more ancient than that. Not the popular thought. Yoga means that which helps the individual unite with that supreme. And what are the 4 mainstream paths? Karma, bhakti, jnana and dhyana yoga. Do you know why these 4 paths have been dedicatedly described? Yes, no. Hare Rama. No, Ashok ji, you are disqualified from answering, okay? Your president, he's answering. He's trying to cover the bases for you. हाँ, कोशिश कीजिए. वादे अक्सर टूट जाते हैं, कोशिशें अक्सर कामयाब होती हैं, तो कोशिश कीजिए. अच्छा हुआ आपने बता दिया. Because I need not assume that we are confused about these 4 paths. I can now confirmly say that we are confused. Sad that we are grown as a Hindu, we are born growing in a Hindu culture environment. Still, the basics of what we call Hinduism is a big question mark in our understanding. These 4 paths are not given so that you choose one of them to reach to the higher, but the understanding is much subtler than that. So pay attention. The rishis identified that each individual has three equipments with which we interact with the world outside. Each one of us have three equipments with which we interact with the world outside. The physical level, the body level, is the first one. The second one is कुछ कुछ होता है, the heart, emotions. And the third one is the buddhi or intellect. Three equipments, three levels with which we interact with the world outside. Can I ever claim that I function and interact with this world only at a physical level? Can I claim that I am only at an emotional level? I'm a very emotional person, okay? No, you may be emotional, but you are not just restricted only to the emotions. There are physical needs, there are emotional needs, there are also intellectual needs. We interact at all three levels. Fair enough? Yes, no? Do we interact at all three levels? In at all these three levels, the way we have to function and the way we end up functioning, the way we are intended to function, packaged to function, we are not functioning that way. Instead, we are functioning with a wrong sense of identity. I may have asked this silly question as a different example, but still, let's go through the same process again. I'll ask a silly question, but I am expecting a sincere answer. Okay? Yes? The question that I am going to ask each one of you is, what is the car that you drive? Tell me the make and the year, the manufacturer and the year model. Okay? Simple question. Like I drive Hyundai Tucson 2014 model. So if a question is asked to me, I would say Hyundai Tucson 2014. Clear? So let us start from आपसे शुरू करते हैं. Infinity 2014. हाँ जी. Lexus GS 2004, 2006. Jaguar 2014. Corner. Honda Pilot. Oh, एकदम झकास new. 2016. Honda Odyssey 2007.
Nissan Leaf 2000.
Nissan Leaf. He is the greenest of the green in the room today. So you go to a environment, whether it's a party or a puja or whatever, and you are the new one into that group. As soon as you go in, how do you introduce yourself? Nissan Leaf 2014. How do you do? Do you introduce yourself with respect to the car? Never ever? कभी भी नहीं. Not even by mistake. No, new car also doesn't cut it. Maybe, okay, I have not seen it, but maybe if you have a car which is like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or a Bugatti, and if somebody asks you, who are you? You see that Ferrari? Maybe. New car also doesn't cut it. New car ठीक है यार. You never ever introduce yourself with respect to the equipment that you are using to transport you from point A to point B, because you distinctly know that you are not the instrument that you are using, right? If your car has to be cleaned because it is dirty, you never end up saying that, I am dirty, I have to get cleaned. Do you? If the gas is showing E, all men out there, E means empty, not enough. Many men, अरे car is चलता समझिए चलता है, is enough. Oh yeah, twice. And once I had to walk all the way to the gas station and get the gas. Because that person was about 70 years old. What do I make a 70-year person walk? I had to walk. True. Enough of those experiences. So when the car is running empty, do you ever say that, oh, I am running low? I am hungry? No. If the car gets punctured, do you ever say that I am punctured? Because there is a distinct understanding that I am not the equipment. I am only the one who is using the equipment. Clear about the identity there. But with respect to this equipment that we have of body, mind and intellect, how do we behave? We behave as if we are this body. So much focus, so much attention, so much of nitty-gritty details given to fulfill an existence as a body. So much that we have become sensitive about the body. A black person should not be mentioned as black. A bald person should not be mentioned as bald. A fat person cannot be mentioned as fat. Why? You have to be sensible. No, they are being insensitive. It is just the equipment. But the identity with that equipment is so strong that for generations after generations we have lived limiting others based on the externality of physicality. If somebody is of a different color skin, they're a second tier or a third tier kind of a citizen. Based on gender, we create differences. Now all this is just about the physicality, the physical aspect of it, which has a gender, which has a color, which has a shape, which has a form. But we live as a, I am bald, I am fat. No, the body is, why call it fat? It is a complete round personality. I don't need to walk, I just need to tumble. But these are the attributes of the physical aspect. Now the identity at the emotional level is so different that there are emotions in the heart. Just because there is a presence of certain emotion, do I have to become that emotion? They say it is going to rain today, right? When I walked in here about 2 o'clock, it started drizzling. I've not stepped out since then, so I don't know. Is it raining? It was drizzling. Every time it rains, do you have to get wet? Every time there is, banana peel, do you have to cry and say, "Aur fir se girna padega"? It can be a probability that you did not see that banana peel on that road and you stepped on it, slipped and fell. Mistake once. Every time you see it, do you have to fall? Every time there is a sad thought, do you have to become sad? Every time there is a bad thought, is it a necessity to become bad? Am I reaching across? It's an emotion, and that emotion is not a necessity. Its presence is not a necessity that I identify with it and become that expression. Have you all worked in a kitchen? Have you all cut vegetables? कुछ तो बोलो यार. हाँ, yes. If you are cutting a vegetable and there is some light coloring in the vegetable or shade different, what do you do with that vegetable? Just cut that part and use the rest of it, right? Or do you take the entire thing and say? I had this Yuva Kendra members, I gave them potatoes to cut. 80% of the potatoes were in the trash. I had given them the job thinking that they knew how to do it. I said, what is wrong? I said, I cut, there was something dark there, so I threw it away. I don't know, something wrong with that potato. What is a wise thing to do? To have the freedom to cut that portion, discard it and make use of the rest of it, which is good. Right? You see a little bad portion and do you start, oh, baap re, ab khana kaise banaunga main? How do I make food now? No. A certain portion of your emotion which is expressing, which is not good, which is sad or which is bad, weed it out, throw it away and continue with the rest of it. But instead, there is a sad thought. We even give warning. Hey, don't mess with me today. Huh? I'm really glad today. Huh? Don't mess with me today. Huh? But just because you have, thank you. Just because you have that sad thought, you don't need to become sad. You don't need to become agitated. But it seems like a pattern that we have evolved, that there is a sad thought and I have to become sad. Why don't you understand? I have to become sad now. Had kar di? It is sad and then weed it out, throw it out and then move on. Makes sense? We are not able to behave that way. Right? So the rishis have said that at all these three levels, wrong sense of identity is called impurity. This identification with the equipment and existing as the equipment is called impurity. Why is it called impurity? Because of this identification, I have developed agitations in my life. That which has to be used as an equipment because of my identity and that wrong identification, it is now becoming the trigger for my agitations. And that which causes agitations is called impurity. Dosha. So to disidentify and purify at each one of these levels, because when I interact at a physical level, I interact at an emotional level, I interact at an intellectual level, all three equipments are a necessity. I cannot just say that I am going to focus only on karma, only on bhakti or only on jnana. All three are required. Otherwise, we will be a caricature doing only one portion of our body as exercise. The rest of the body is neglected. We need all three aspects. Is it true? Is it logical? To think that these three are separate and have got nothing to do with each other, pravadanti balaha, unwise ones speak that language. Na pravadanti panditaha, the one who have this comprehensive idea, do not see them as three different paths mutually alienating each other, but rather comprehensively look at all these three and bring a cohesiveness in it and apply it to evolve. Ekam sankhyan ekamapya sthita samyak ubhayoho vindate phalam. And they have to now be organized in a sequential order and be used. Now, how do we find a sequential order? What is of priority? If you have three children at home, one is sleeping very calmly, the other one is playing with his toys, the third one is cranky, crying, which one will you attend to? Why? Which one will you attend to? The one which is sleeping, pinch him and then start attending to him? I don't know. I have never dealt with children. Aap batao. Which one will you deal with? What will be the priority? Because that is the one which is creating restlessness for himself as well as for everybody around. And that would be the priority. Similarly, at a physical level or at an emotional level or an intellectual level, whichever is causing the highest agitation at this point, shouldn't you be catering to that first? Wouldn't that decide your priority first? I know you are too much of thinking, processing happening. I see circles running around. Therefore, in the next shloka it says, Yat sankhyehi prapyate sthanam tad yogaihi apigamyate. Both of these or all these processes have to be seen one after the other and not to be compared that, seva is better than bhakti or better than jnana. They're not three independent paths. They have to be culminating together and applied together. Right? But what do? We have wrong analysis, like how first grade student and a 10th grade student, who is better? First grade student and a 10th grade student, who is better? Whatever you understood with that question, who is better? The first grade, the 10th grade. Cannot be compared, not need not. Within the first grade you can compare. Within the 10th grade you can compare. Comparing a first grade and 10th grade, there's not even comparison. Right? But if you have to reach to 10th grade, you have to go through first grade. And that does not make 10th grade better and first grade worse. One day this lady called me up, way back in the early days when I was living in this very building. This lady called me up and said, Swamiji, my son, he wants to become a doctor and does not have focus at all. Pata nahi kya karna hai, I'm in tension right now. Can you speak to my son? I said, sure. I gave them time. Earlier, this room next adjacent to this hall, that was the office that I used to use to meet people. So the lady comes and I'm like jaw dropped. Like she looks too young to have a son who is college going or who is into med school. And right behind her comes this kid who is 4.5 years old. And I said, Ahmad, aapka bada beta? Your older son, where is he? to whom I have to speak. No, 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 Swamiji, this one only. I was like, even to say he doesn't have focus to go to the med school. I said, yeah. She said. So I took that child, went into my room, gave him handful of chocolates, and I said, Beta, you go outside and play. I said, lady, you sit. It's not your child who requires counseling, you require counseling. Mati Brashta. Huh? That the child wants to become a doctor, does not have focus, and she is in tension right now. And what is the age of that child? 4.5 years old. What kind of I still feel for that kid. Right from 4.5 years, if this is the kind of pressure that the kid has to live under, see, you may have the intensity to go there and get into medical school. But you can get into medical school only if you have gone through your kindergarten, your elementary, your middle school, then high school, then get into your undergrad. You have to go through this process. That is when you can get into medical school. You cannot just jump in. And I said, "Pata nahi, why they say medical? Kuch samajh mein nahi aa raha hai. I don't understand anything." Well, you don't understand because you're not qualified. Similarly, unqualified, we jump into meditation because it seems like effortless. All that you have to do is close your eyes. It seems the most easiest thing. I don't have time to spend, sitting, reading all this mantra or doing the puja or reading through the books or best is. And then what do we do? After that meditation, in meditation class, they I'm seeing that they're sleeping. After their sleeping session, they come and tell me, Swamiji, आज का क्लास ना बहुत बढ़िया था. Why not? Because you are sleeping. So on a funnier note, there are those who go forward in meditation and there are those who fall back in meditation. Do you know how? This is going forward. This is called fall back in meditation. Get up from the vertical into a horizontal and continue that vertical, sleep again. And then say that, I tried meditation but it doesn't work. I know many of you would say that. Now, I tried meditation, I don't know, nothing, it doesn't seem to work. Have you prepared all this to reach there? So we have 3 instruments and 3 paths. At a physical level, karma yoga. At a emotional level, bhakti yoga. And at a intellectual level, jnana yoga. Having purified, meaning disidentified, and found accessibility on these instruments. Accessibility meaning indicating complete freedom, complete authority on this equipment. Like when you turn these, when this light fixtures here, can you say that we have good authority on them? How can you say? That you turn them off, it turns off. You turn them on, it turns on. Unlike the Indian tube lights. You turn them on, pata nahi uska mood hai. You turn it on and it is like, it takes its own time. Our mood is also like that only. Get into an environment, it is not on. I don't feel like it today. Should you be charging that mood into the situation, or should the situation be catered to according to the mood? It's after all an instrument. And one aspect of it is not functional, cut it out, throw it, and use the rest of it. I don't know, my mood is not. How long will we live like kids? Yeah, as kids, when the kid you try to feed them with food, I don't feel like Indian today. I don't feel like Thai today. You can say that to the frustration of the mother again. Understand? But even after growing up, we still are catering to those whimsical patterns. Does it make sense? So these paths that have been dedicated are so that we find what is the heights of purity that I have disidentified from it, and the second, have complete accessibility of using it or shutting it off depending on the need which I will to use. Then you sit on the seat of meditation. Then one finds that yoga, the unity between this limited self and that unlimited Paramatma. Abiding in that unity is called Samadhi. And there are many intensive ones that come and ask, Swamiji, all this pravachan and all is okay. Tell me if you are going to teach us meditation. To do what? To sleep? Instead, let's have yoga nidra session. Yeah, I don't even need to have yoga nidra session. My pravachan itself seems to be like a lullaby. Ekam Sankhyancha Yogancha Yah Pashyati Sa Pashyati. The one who understands this comprehensive idea that we have three instruments, three paths, and three processes to purify at all these three levels. Now, combining these three, a complete personality applied whether in an outside direction or an inward direction, such personality finds peace, joy, and success in their life. This is the comprehensive idea picture. That is why we have four paths, four yoga: karma, bhakti, jnana, and dhyana. Dhyana.
No, not Dhyana. Before that.
The third one, jnana. Now the jnana, the identification, I thought I could cut short because I was already dragging in from earlier session. I was feeling tired. So पूछना ही था तुमको. But at least I am glad he caught it. There is awakened people listening. Now at the intellectual level, the sense of identity is the intellect is a seat of decisions, convictions, ideas. Now what happens when we have these convictions, ideas and decisions? That when I decide something and I convey those decisions to people who are looking up for those decisions, team, family, friends, whatever be the structure. When they adhere to my decision, my line of thinking, unopposed, without asking any questions, then the immediate interpretation is my decision has been accepted, therefore they all respect me. So far, so good. My decision when I thrust it on the environment and unanimously the environment rejects it. My decision rejected, therefore I am rejected, therefore I am being disrespected. And this sense of neglect leads to many a cause of frustration. For example, you give instructions to your next generation. Do they listen to you at all? Which generation listened to which earlier generation? Tell me that. Ha 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 ha. Just because there is no proof of the other generation sitting now, you claim whatever you claim. Do you think I'm going to agree with that? That is also a false claim. You just listened to what they said and you ended up doing whatever you wanted to do, which was more devious than what these kids are doing. What's that?
Calm down, then debate.
Unless proven guilty, right? Not true, but they will beat only if proven. If you are caught. So when the instructions are giving, you are like, ha 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 ha. And as soon as they are done, you do whatever you feel like doing. That doesn't cut it either. Now, when do you appreciate your parents' guidance? When you have your own children. When you are going through those circumstances, you are like, oh my God, with just one or two kids, we are finding it so difficult. They had what, 5, 6, 7, 10 of us, and they still could manage with such peace. How many of you felt like calling up or did call up your parents and say, Mom, Dad, thank you? Did you not? Haji? Nuh-uh. Whatever you are seeing now is genetic defect. And that genetic defect, my formula is plus 10%. Whatever we are or whatever we were, they are worse than us 10% more. And when will they find it? When they have their independence and they have to find their own roots and find their footing, that is when they call up and say, Mom, I think what you said was right. I should have learnt it then. Now, in between, what happens until that the reality hits? You are giving decisions, they are not listening. So what happens? Frustration is brewing inside. What is the cause of that frustration? They don't listen to me, they don't respect our generation. What was accepted or rejected is only, and what is that decision? A thought. But our identification with that thought is so strong that I feel as if I am being accepted or I am being rejected. What is being accepted and rejected is only the thought. See, many times it happens when we are in a meeting or something. So this person, we gave him the task to go research, and took 2 months to research, presented, and unanimously all of us decided that this well-intended research is not worth continuing. Unanimously rejected. So the person felt little dejected that it was not accepted. So he went back home. At about 10:30, 11, I get a call from his wife. Said, what did you do to my husband? And do you know how much time he put in there? And it only shows your disrespect towards all his effort and work. So I said, look, I have 2 points to state. One, we were dealing with a member of that committee and not your husband. Your husbandness in him still is intact. We have not messed with the husbandness of your husband. What did you do with my husband? कुछ नहीं किया. Your husband still remains as your husband. If after the meeting he comes and says, I divorce you, then we have messed with his husbandness. We have not done any such. Okay. Second, what was rejected was his proposal. He as a person is not rejected. We still love him as much as we had loved him earlier. Just because today this proposal is rejected, it does not indicate that we are rejecting him. You getting the thought? What is being accepted, what is being rejected is just the proposal. The respect and love for that individual is still intact. To have that understanding and to function through the intellect with this clarity at every instance of life, that would call the disidentification. Can you all hold there? Stand there. So you got the idea, right? So at that level, to apply for clarity Jnana Yoga, to find focus through Bhakti Yoga, and then to merge both of them into karma and dedicate it to a higher altar and doing it selflessly, that is the key for peaceful, happy, moment-to-moment existence. I think I have to stop here. Your tufan has just been released. Om